my name is Stacey and I'm one of the physiotherapists here at Performance Medicine. We're a dance and performing based physiotherapy clinic in South Bank. I'm so excited to be with you here today at this Pointe virtual event. So what I'm going to go through is what a pre-Pointe profile is, which is something we do as physiotherapists to begin your Pointe journey, and also then go through some specific strengthening exercises that are going to assist you in your Pointe journey. So let's start with the pre-Pointe profile. It's exactly what it sounds like, a dance profile. So we're beginning your on-Pointe journey. It's not that we're looking at you at an end point. So we're here to help you at the start. There are four main components. They are the dance history, your past medical history. We go through some specific ballet technique and exercises, and as well as an assessment of your biomechanics. So in terms of dance history, it's important for us to know how long you've been dancing, whether you've just started ballet a couple of years ago or whether you've been training since you were 3 or 4, what style of ballet you're doing as well, and as well what other genres of dancing you do. So we see some students who only do ballet, which is amazing, and then others who do a variety of different dance styles. So all are completely fine, but we just want to know a little bit more about you, and so we can get a better idea of your whole dance profile. And then we also want to ask if you have any dance goals. Do you want to be a professional ballerina? Do you want to be a dance teacher? Or are you just really trying to get up on Pointe and that's your big sort of goal and achievement? So it's all very valued and appreciated, and we want to just know a little bit more about yourself. In terms of past medical history, the second component, what we are looking for is a deeper understanding of your medical and injury history. So if you are a dancer who's a frequent ankle roller, it's important for us to know that so we can identify where some potential strengths and weaknesses are in your body and what we should be looking for throughout the assessment to make sure that you are strong enough and safe enough for your Pointe journey. And we also want to know if you experience any pain in dance class. Sometimes we experience some pain every time we do a développé devant, or sometimes we get some clicking in our ankles. So we just want to know all those little, any niggles and pains that you may have. The more information you give us, the better, so we can just assist you as a whole. The third component is when we go through the ballet technique. So in this section, we're looking at your technique specifically of some basic ballet principles, pliés, rises, and we're just looking at your strength and control around the lower leg, particularly the hip, knee and ankle, and assessing how strong you are and well controlled these movements are. So I know it can be a bit nerve-wracking sometimes when you come in for these pre-Pointe profiles, but it's nothing to worry about. We know that you may not be super warm and we're only seeing you on a one-off experience, but we're just looking for a general strength and control component. And then the last bit, like I said, is the biomechanic sort of assessment. So that's looking at how much range do you have through your hip joint? How much control and strength of that hip range do you have? Same with, again, around the knees and the ankles and the foot. And again, all looking for how safe you are. So that's all about the pre-Pointe profile. So why do we do it? Assess your lower limb biomechanics, so how things move and feel in your body. We really are very much focused on your strength, because as we know, going from a flat bar coming up onto Pointe is a huge load and increase in tasks. So we want to make sure that you are all as safe as possible to do this, because we don't want you guys to get injured and we don't want to see anyone in the clinic for injuries down the track. So our biggest concern is making sure that you're safe enough to do Pointe. We then want to, again, develop an understanding between your biomechanics and your strength and see what areas maybe you need to focus on a little bit more. What are your strengths and what you're amazing at, and what we just need to focus on a little bit more before we get up on Pointe. So I'm going to now go through a few exercises with you that are super important and can help you out at any stage of your Pointe journey. So whether you're on Pointe already, these exercises are a great way of continuing to strengthen your lower legs, particularly the hips, the calf and the foot, and prevent that injury or any injuries from occurring in the future. But then again, if you're getting ready to start your on Pointe journey, these things are great ways to start increasing your strength, because whenever we see any ballet dancer who's going to start their point journey, there is always some strength or aspect of strength that we can improve. And as we progress through our lives, strengthening is always key. So there's never too much strengthening that you can do. That's what we really like to emphasize. So everyone is always given exercises no matter what stage of their journey they're at. So the first exercise that I'll go through is the calf rise. So the calf rise is super important in ballet, and I'm sure many of you have done this before. What we recommend is going through a single leg calf rise and aiming to complete 25 repetitions of the single leg calf rise with relative ease. So it is difficult and challenging, but you want to feel quite comfortable to be able to complete 25 repetitions. So as you're doing your calf rise, it's important to try and focus on your alignment. You want to think about having a straight line from the front of your ankle coming all the way down between your big toe and second toe. You want to ensure your knee is straight the whole time, you're active through your core, and as well you want to make sure that you're not scrunching through your toes. So you want your toes to be nice and relaxed. And the last thing that I often say to the students that I see is you want to take your time and control with the exercise. So I say when you're standing on one foot, you want to think about that you've stepped on a piece of chewing gum on your heel. As you're coming up into that calf rise, it's hard for you to come up onto the full rise. As you come down, you're obviously not wanting to step back into that chewing gum, so you're really lifting up out of that heel as you lower back down. The next exercise that I want to go through is an exercise that's important to help build the strength of your foot intrinsic muscles. So these muscles are all the little muscles underneath your foot and in your foot that are super important in point and beginning your point journey. So we're going through the toe press exercise today. So for this exercise, you need a TheraBand, usually quite a light one, so a yellow or a red, or depending on the brand that you have and the strength of TheraBand that you have, but a light TheraBand. So you want to fold that TheraBand in half and then surround it around one of your toes. So we usually start with the big toe. You support that big toe like it's in a little bit of a hammock with the TheraBand. You're holding the TheraBand above your foot and your toe. What you want to do is make sure your foot is completely relaxed. You're then going to gently pull up that toe with no activation, and then you're going to actively press that toe back down to the floor. So it's really hard, and people will be surprised at how difficult it is, but you want to lift up that toe and then actively press it down while keeping the rest of your toes nice and relaxed on the floor. The main watch points for this exercise is to make sure that you're not bending at the knuckle of your toe. You want to keep your toe nice and long as you press it down towards the ground. The next exercise is a strengthening exercise for your deep hip rotators. So we've gone with one today that can be performed on your hands and knees, and it's super important for those deep hip rotators, as I said. So you want to start in a kneeling position, hands directly under your shoulders, knees under your hips. You extend one leg out behind you, and then with the other leg you're rotating inward, so we're getting that external rotation of that hip. You're keeping this position, you're making sure your pelvis is nice and aligned, you're pressing up through those shoulders, activating through that core. From here though, you want to make sure that your quad and your hamstring, so the front and back of that leg that's rotated, are super relaxed and not active. You want to also make sure that the front of your hip, again, is super relaxed and switched off. So I sometimes say do a few pelvic tilts in this position until you can feel and sense that the front of your hip is relaxing and softening. So once you're in this setup position, you're then going to rock your body forward and back, letting that extended leg drag on the floor as you come forward and back with your body. To challenge this, you can extend the leg up in the air and continue with that forward and back motion. So with this exercise, you want to try and complete roughly 30 repetitions. So you're going for that increasing in endurance strength of the muscle. And you should be feeling this exercise sort of at the back pocket of your jeans, that area of your glutes, okay? It's a challenging one, but super effective. The next exercise that I wanted to go through is a core exercise. So we call this one up, up, down, down. pretty self-explanatory, but you start lying on your back in a crook lying position. From here, you're activating your deeper core, so you're not bracing through the middle of your chest. You're trying to focus lower down, closer to your hip bone. You want to think about gently sucking in through that area and keeping that pressure constant throughout the movement. So from here, you're activating that core, you're lifting one leg up into tabletop, then following it by the second leg coming up into tabletop, then returning first leg down and second leg down. So you go through that sequence, trying to build up to 10 to 15 reps. And then from there, to challenge yourself, you can keep your legs up into the tabletop position. And from there, you can tap one foot down so the toes touch the floor, one leg at a time. And you're alternating from tabletop, touching one toe down to the floor, coming back up to tabletop, and then alternating sides. So again, very basic as it seems in the video, but really engaging, and if done correctly, super important and will really help you in your whole dance career. The last exercise that I wanted to go through was an adductor strengthening exercise. So these are the inner thigh muscles that are really important in ballet. So what you want to do for this exercise is lie on your side, supporting your head and neck. I often use a roller to place my top leg on in front of my body. And then you're straightening out the bottom leg. So you're keeping a nice straight line in line with your body, but that bottom leg is straight, the top leg is bent over in front. While you're doing this, you want to ensure that your hips are staying stacked on top of each other. So people often find that this might be uncomfortable through the sides of their hips, so you might find you have to place a towel under your hip. But once you're in that position, you're keeping that bottom leg long and you're lifting it up and then lowering it down. Slow and controlled movements here are key, and again, you're trying to reach that 30 repetitions in this exercise. So that brings me to the end of my talk. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you took a bit away from it, and if it's helped clear hopefully some of the questions about what a pre-point profile is and why it's important to do. And I hope that those exercises are super helpful for you all, and that it will help continue to aid in your strengthening and help prevent injury in the future, because that is my main goal as a physiotherapist. I want you to make sure that you're as safe and strong as possible so that you're not going to have any injuries and you're not having to come into the clinic to get some rehab for that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and we'll send out a little handout as well that will go through those exercises in a little bit more detail for you. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the event. Bye.